with one cluster of grapes, and they bear it between two upon a stack.
Now, it took 2 men to create this grape. Right? That's how things change. Now we got unseeded grapes. Now we got fake grapes. Go down to verse 27.
Verse 27. And they told him and said, we came into the land whither thou sentest, and surely it flowed with milk and honey.
Yeah, it's flowing with milk and honey, the ground was, able to give the plant, but over here, you can't even plant nothing, man. The ground is all jammed up, you ain't got no sun, and then you got, you ain't got no area for your animal, it's concrete everywhere, but the Lord told them to be in good courage, and let's see what they did.
And this is the fruit of it.
Right?
Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, in the city, a wall, and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there.
Right? I got a minute for Bible verse. If you don't mind me asking, what's your religion? Sorry. All right.
The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan.
They got all enemies around, just like we got all enemies around us now.
And Caleb still the people before Moses, and said,
you got a Bible with you?
let us go.
I have a Bible in my car.
Okay.
Right now I have books. You want to see them?
You selling them?
No, I bought them in the bookstore.
Oh, from the bookstore.
How you doing?
Shake a lady's hand like this, two fingers.
No, you got it. No, it's just that this is how I greet people. I pound.
You believe in God?
I sure
You
did.
read the Bible?
I did.
I want to ask you something. Okay, if Christ came on the earth right now, how would you describe it? Angry? Yeah. What else would you like? What else would you like to say about the Son of Man?
Coming with some horses, some warrior angels.
What else?
If he comes,
No, he is coming.
with that, all time.
Yeah. Is he a Jew? Okay. Will he look like this brother right here?
Probably. Dark skin man.
Okay. Now, if you don't mind me asking, what is your nationality? Would you happen to know that? I'm gonna show you why I asked this. In the
I
Bible.
am part indigenous,
Okay.
8%, and then Portuguese, French, and Scottish.
So we're gonna read you something. The reason why I asked this. Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24, verse 14.
This is a name I like that.
Book of Matthew chapter 24 and verse 14, right? And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached into all the world for a witness unto all nations.
So you come from all nations. You come from one of those nations. Mainly out of what you just told me. Mainly outside of Israel, outside of Jacob. But we are of Jacob. You said French, Dutch.
I said French, Portuguese, Scottish, North African,
Okay.
and also Portuguese, French, North African is the 8%.
Okay, what about your father?
My father's Scottish.
Scott? So you
Mother
probably,
French, Portuguese,
so you probably,
and indigenous.
you say your biological father, right? grandfather.
Scotch.
So you probably Esau.
Well, they came from the cold area of East.
Yeah, you probably Esau. You ever heard of Esau?
Oh,
In the Bible?
yes.
Yeah, that's
The tribe
probably
of Esau.
yeah, that's probably your nationality from Edom. Go read it. Genesis 36. Start at verse 1. So more than likely, you and your bloodline.
Everybody in my family was
Yeah.
around here in the house.
Okay, all right. So let's read it.
Genesis chapter 36 and verse 6.
Start at verse 1.
Verse 1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom.
Who is who?
Who is Edom?
Who is Edom? And I'm pretty sure you already know
Edith was his mother.
that's in Genesis 25.
Oh.
When Esau and Jacob was born, Esau came out red, hairy all over like a hairy garment. So that's where you come in at. So
No, because I read Genesis one time and never read it again, and I don't remember that.
okay, well
So
we'll
I'll
read it
have
for
to
you
go
then.
back and read that.
Oh, no, we didn't read it for you. Genesis 25, verse 21. That's what we out here for. Because we got to make aware of what the truth is. You know, you ever heard of the truth? This truth right here. The word? The word. And well, this is the truth. See this right here? This is the truth. Friends, you know, keeping the Sabbath day.
Right.
That's the truth. You know, not eating pork. You eat pork?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we don't eat pork. So we love the truth.
Right.
You know?
I got you.
Yeah.
Nothing to call them those.
You eat, how you eat your steak? You eat meat?
I didn't say something.
How you eat your steak?
Red.
It has a little bit of kind of blood. So yeah, we don't do that. So we are the truth, we know. Alright, so we gonna show you. So you getting patient.
Genesis chapter 25 verse 21.
Right?
And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife.
And Isaac entreated the Lord. He went to the Lord just like you coming to us. You coming to us will be going to the Lord, equivalent for that. Because we represent for the Lord, you don't represent for the Lord. Get me? Read.
Because she was barren.
Right.
And the Lord was entreated of him.
Right?
And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled together within her.
So she was kind of going through a lot. You got children? How many kids you got?
3.
By the same husband? And what else?
And she said, if it be so, why am I thus?
Why am I struggling?
And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
So what?
2 nations are in thy womb.
Israelites, non-Israelites.
2 nations are in thy womb.
Jacob and Esau. Read.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
Yeah, 2 manner of people got to be separated because look, this is what's going to be going on. It's going to be the Edomites burning the Israelites. It's going to be the Edomites putting chains and yokes around the Israelites. That's why we got to be separated. It's going to be the Edomites whipping the Israelites. That's why we got to be separated. Because God prophesied.
Oh, God.
Two nations shall be separated.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
So as soon as they come out, both of their roles was to be separated. Because one was going to fulfill the prophecy, and the other one was going to fulfill the prophecy. And what else?
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people.
And one people shall be stronger than the other people, spiritually and physically. Now I can attest, and this is what I believe, not only me, but the rest of my brothers right here.
Right.
We believe that your nation of people would have not been able to sustain and do all of this. You know, this right here.
Are you from Israel?
It's my blood.
Or are you from the United States?
My blood is Israel.
Oh, all of our children of God are from Israel. Our blood.
That's incorrect. But what I'm saying is your nation of people would not have endured this. That's why the Lord says one people shall be stronger than the other. Your people, they would have been annihilated, wiped out, never seen a day in life.
My people also took into slavery. Is that what you call it?
Well, you're talking about,
Are you from a slavery system?
get your shirt. I'm talking about building pyramids. I'm talking about
Oh, yeah.
being put on the horseback chariot and carried off into a plantation. I'm talking about being whipped. I'm talking about having to bend over and the slave
Is there anything
master
else you
raping
want to
you.
learn about us? do with God?
It does. It's in the Bible. What are you talking about? It has everything to do with God. But we're going to finish this and we're going to show you more. What else? And what you're saying is incorrect, and we got to prove
I
it.
didn't really get to say anything, so you
Well,
overtopped me.
I want you to say all you want to say after we give you the understanding of who you are, okay?
And the elder shall serve the younger.
Very disrespectful.
Yeah, how is it?
You have no clue who I am.
You just told me.
I'm a child of God.
You said you Scott.
Doesn't matter what my color is. I'm a child of God.
You're not a child of God. You eat pork.
Part of my DNA is
You
black.
have no
You
fingers
have
on.
no clue.
You just the devil. That's all you are. You know. That's all she is. You know. How you? You know. We're not even gonna worry about that. So let's go back. Let's go ahead and we go. We're gonna finish it off for the Numbers chapter 13. Let's start at verse 28. I mean, we was just talking, we was just going according to the word of God. You know, but you were bearing witness. She had to get out of it. Numbers 13 and 28.
Numbers chapter 13 and verse 28. Nevertheless,
Right?
the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great.
Right?
And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there, and the Amalekites dwell in the land of the south,
Right?
and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains,
Yeah, we saw the heathen nations there, man. And what else?
and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan.
Who the world calls Africans, the Canaanites, and what else?
And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and possess it.
And he was of good courage, man. You know, Joshua and Moses, hey, they was on fire, man. They was in the right spirit, you know. So you might have one or two that's gonna be in the right spirit, and they got to get everybody else in order. What else?
For we are well able to overcome it.
What he say?
For we are well able to overcome it.
Hey, that's what they was doing, man. That's what Joshua was doing. You know, he was well able to overcome those 5 kings. And he had the rest of the tribes in order, as well as Caleb. But you had some, you know, they wanted to give a bad report. They wanted to be of an evil courage. They wanted to be of an evil faith, man. You know. How you doing, brother? You got a minute for a Bible verse?
No, sir.
You believe in God, right?
No, sir.
All right. You know who the Israelites are?
Yeah.
All right, read.
But the men that went up with them said,
You got a minute for a Bible verse? Okay. Do you know who the Israelites are? Do you know who the Israelites are in the Bible? We the Israelites. Hey, y'all got a minute for a Bible verse, brothers? Y'all don't believe in God? Come on, brothers. Sabbath day.
but the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people.
What the wicked man that was with Caleb say?
We be not able to go up against the people.
What's going on, brother? You got a minute for a Bible verse? Okay, well, do you know who the Israelites are? We the Israelites. We out here trying to tell you who you are, brother. It's madness to feel. And what happened?
But the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people.
Yeah, that's like somebody saying, I can't endure, you know. I can't keep the commandments, you know. I can't have faith. I can't come out here and teach this Bible. I can't come out here and read, you know. I can't take care of my wife. I can't take care of my children, you know. I can't do it, you know. But hey, we gotta stand up for what's right in these last days, man. You know, this is the same spirit back on the earth. You know, you got some they want to stand up for their nation. You got others, they want to be against their nation. What's going on now? Skateboarding, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you show me a trick.
Oh,
You show me a
absolutely
trick, I show you a trick.
I can only skate. I've only been skating for a month. I can't do nothing cool, unfortunately.
All right, well, you ain't got nothing to show me. Can I show you something?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to show you who the Israelites are. You ever heard of the Israelites?
Yeah.
Who are the Israelites?
It's a group of African American leaders, but I haven't heard y'all live before. I've never seen you guys in person. Only heard
You've
about
never
y'all on
seen
the
us in
internet.
person. So you know we the Israelites.
I can tell by
How you know we the Israelites?
Because I figured with like the surgeon and them down there, I figured y'all were probably like doing the same thing.
Okay. Now, what's our nationality?
I couldn't tell you. I don't want to assume.
What's your nationality?
I'm African Canadian.
So if you're African, that means you an Israelite. Okay, that word African, it just means something that's not being taught, that you ignorantly picked up. You know, what's your nationality? What's your race?
Oh, I'm Mexican and white.
Now, what's your father? Who
My
I want to
dad.
state it first?
My dad's also Mexican and white.
Nah, it can't be both. Right? I'm gonna show you why. I'm gonna show you why. Numbers chapter 1, verse 18. Show you why.
Whatever you want.
Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18.
So if you got a lemon, you know, and you got a lime, are they both the same thing? Is it a lime lemon, or is it a lemon? Is it a lime?
Well, you can't like cross between those, so those are like two
So
separate
what you
things.
telling me then? So you got you your mom and you your dad at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you what?
A combination of both.
Let's see what the Bible says. Yeah. So if I have an apple seed and I plant it right beside some oranges, is the apple going to kind of turn into an orange?
Well, no, because of two different seeds, but at the same time, those can't mix.
So what are you telling you then? So we want to hear what God got to say.
Genetics mix.
Okay, let's see what God says.
And they assembled
So
all
you
the
said
congregation.
I'm sorry. You said what's your dad?
My dad is African American.
Okay.
and Native American.
What's your dad?
My dad's Mexican and white.
Okay. What's your dad's dad?
Mexican.
Mexican?
Yes, sir.
So you said one. You said one. So what's your dad's dad?
I think he's also Native American and African.
Okay. Why he said one? Why you say two?
Because he was also mixed.
Okay. All right.
And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month.
So this is how our forefathers used to find out who they are. They assembled the congregation. So this right here is the congregation right now. The congregation is just a gathering, right? This is the congregation right now,
On the first day of the second month.
right?
And they declared their pedigrees.
The what?
Their pedigree.
So your pedigree is what? You know, it's your background, your lineage, where you come from. They declare their pedigree
After their families.
after their families.
By the house of their fathers.
Now their mom and father.
By the house of their fathers.
So God said, you determine who you are by your father, not your mother. Now I'm gonna ask you, who was Christ's mother?
Mary.
Okay, Matthew chapter 1. Let's see what the Bible says. Let's see if Christ is determined by Mary's line or by the Father's line. Matthew chapter 1.
Matthew chapter 1 and verse 1.
Right?
The book of the generation of Jesus Christ.
Of who?
Of Jesus Christ.
Right?
The son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham begat Isaac,
See that?
and Isaac begat Jacob,
See that?
and Jacob begat Judas and brethren. And
Go down to where it says Christ here.
verse 14. And Jacob begat Joseph, the husband of Mary,
See that?
of whom was born Jesus, who is called Christ.
See that? They didn't say nothing about Mary. So we go back based on our father's seed. Okay. So that's something new for y'all to do. You know. So you learn new tricks on skateboards. You learn a new Bible verse. So it's based on your father. So based on your father, that's going to determine who you are. And your DNA, all the way back to your ancestors, all the way back to the 14th generation, 100 generations, ever how many generations you want to go back. But we don't have those records now because they've been wiped away. They've been taken away from us, you know, due to ignorance and rebellion, disobedience, things like that have been taken away. St. John chapter 6, verse 63. And it's not based on your skin color. It's not based on what you look like, you know, because now we don't have the resources that we used to have back in the day. You know? But this is what it's also based on too. St. John 6:63.
St. John chapter 6 and verse 63.
Right?
It is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing.
So it's not based on how dark you are, how light you are, you know, your facial features. As well as a lot of people don't even know they biological father. But this is what God said to that
It is the spirit that quickeneth. Right? The flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit,
right?
And they are life.
They are spirit and they are life. So what we're telling you right now is very spiritual as well as your life. You know. So who you are, you know, as what y'all told us, y'all are Israelites. Okay. And we can prove that more and more through the Bible, with the Bible, as well as with history. You know. So what's one thing that happened to the so-called Africans Americans? Slavery. Do you think that's in the Bible?
Slavery, yeah.
Think that's in the Bible. Okay, what's one thing that happened to the Native Americans?
Land stripped from people, like mother stripped from children.
Do you think that's in the Bible?
About the Native Americans?
Yeah.
No, because that's after that song.
Okay, well, we're going to read it. You know, since you said, yeah, it's in the Bible, we're going to read his first. Let's go to Genesis chapter 49, verse 16. Then let's go to chapter 13.
Genesis chapter 49.
I'll bring them next time.
Verse 16.
Next time I got
Start at verse 18.
Look at Genesis chapter 49, verse 18.
Right?
Gad.
What do you say?
Gad.
Now, according to the Bible, this is Native American. Gad. I'm looking at one right now. From the top of Gad. And who?
Gad. And truth shall overcome him.
Like truth. So when you look at this word in the Bible, in the Hebrew, it's the same thing that overcame the Native Americans. They say Christopher Columbus came over there and started, you know, putting all types of stuff on people, chemicals, diseases, you know, raping, robbing them. That's in the Bible. That's what it says.
But he shall overcome at the last.
He shall overcome at the last. Meaning the Native Americans, they're going to get revenge based on the Most High getting revenge. That's right. That's all throughout the Bible. So what happened to Christ? Did he have to fight? Or did his father rise him back up? His father rose him back up. You know, that's why he was on the cross. He said, Father, why have you forsaken me? So what you think gonna happen to the Native Americans? The Lord is gonna fight for them. You know? So First Chronicles, chapter 5, verse 26, and then 2nd Ezra 13.
First Chronicles what?
Hey, we answered your question, brother.
Oh,
First Chronicles 5:26.
Look at First Chronicles.
You say you don't think it's in the Bible.
don't think what was in the Bible.
Chapter 5,
Native Americans.
verse 26.
Like, as in Native Americans, as in people from North America, correct?
You read it.
Verse 26.
Right.
And the God of Israel.
And the God of Israel, because Native Americans are Israelites. You know. Negroes aren't African Americans, they are Israelites. What I just say?
Oh no, I'm just taking off on this. My mom not mad. I do
Native
that.
Americans are Israelites. African Americans, their names aren't African. Their names are Israel. Alright? They're Israelites. So that name Africa was just changed. That landmass is really Canaan. It's really
Right.
Ham. Alright? Those are actual people in the Bible. Ham, that's an actual man. And that land, if you go over there, even though they look just like us, dark races, they are Hamites. We are Israelites. Alright? So going back to your question.
First Chronicles chapter 5, verse 26.
Right?
And the God of Israel stirred up the spirit of Pul,
Right?
king of Assyria.
So the Native Americans was under captivity, under Pul, the king of Assyria.
And the spirit of Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and he carried them away, even the Reubenites,
even the Reubenites
and the Gadites,
and the Gadites, Native Americans, Seminole Indians,
and the half-tribe of Manasseh.
and the half-tribe of Manasseh, which is the Cubans. So it wasn't just the Native Americans that was in the New World, North America, you know. And we're going to show you them coming over here in the Bible.
And brought them unto Halah,
Right?
and Harbor, and Hara, to the river goes on unto this day.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but we gotta get back.
Okay.
It was nice talking to you, though. What was your name?
So you an Israelite, you know,
I appreciate that.
and you an Israelite. It doesn't matter what my name is. But what matters is you coming back to God. You know?
I already got God in my life.
Okay, you keeping the commandments?
Hmm?
You keeping commandments?
What do you mean? Like, do I follow the commandments?
Are you keeping God's commandments?
Like, expand on that question.
Okay.
You follow the teachers.
Oh, yeah. I try my best.
It's more
You
than
know,
10 though, bro.
I'm not perfect by any means, but
I'm not perfect.
I'm trying. Why does your name not matter though? Like,
Because you may never see me again, but what God is saying is the most important thing you need to remember.
so how would I address you then if I don't know what your name is?
You know, you can dress it however you want to.
Well, what would you prefer is what I'm asking. Because, you know, like,
I would prefer you to listen to this Bible verse before you go, okay?
all right, we got time for like one more.
Let's get
You
Leviticus
got to
chapter
be quick.
11. Leviticus chapter 11. So this is one commandment that you should be keeping because you got God in your life, right?
Leviticus chapter 11,
You too, brother.
and verse 7.
Right?
And the swine,
And the swine, which is pig, y'all eat pig,
I don't eat
bacon,
pork at all.
pork. Okay. And
Though-
the swine,
though he divide the hoof and be cloven footed,
right?
yet he cheweth not the cud. He is unclean to you.
So Israelites and people that love God, they got God in their life, they can't eat pork.
But that's the Old Testament, right?
But if you love God, you do what He says.
Why do you love Jesus? I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna show you. Saint John.
Can you answer the question?
I'm asking you the Bible, bro. Saint John chapter 5. He said it's the Old Testament. I'm trying to.
I know, I just got a curfew.
Yeah, I don't
All right, this is
want
the
to
last one. St. John chapter 5, verse 46.
St. John 5:46. For had ye believed Moses,
What the Lord say?
for had ye believed Moses,
Is Moses in the Old Testament?
Yeah.
Moses in the Old Testament? Okay. So how you believe who?
for had ye believed Moses,
What color letter
red.
is? Sure. So this is Christ speaking,
Yeah.
right? So how you believe Moses?
ye would have believed me,
It's the Old Testament though.
for he wrote of me.
It's the Old Testament though.
But if ye believe not his writings, how shall ye believe my words?
See that? So how you gonna believe Christ? Or how you gonna believe on Christ if you don't believe or associate yourself with the Old Testament? So what we fail to realize is that Christ is in the Old Testament. So therefore we gotta keep his commandments. We gotta keep the words of Moses.
I'll do some Bible study. We'll be back around for sure. It was great talking to
You know
you.
what I mean? Israelites. Take a fly.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right now.
Best of luck, man.
Skateboarders. Israelites. We get a couple more and then we're gonna pass it to the next. So hey, what we gotta deal with is stuff our feet, man. You know, because we harping, you know, we singing the songs of the Lord. But the Lord gonna give us a new song to sing. You know, you got the Travis Scott hunters, you know, you got the YNs, you know, on skateboards. They're just saying all manner of things. And it's our job to come out here like Caleb and Joshua, in the spirit of how our forefathers used to move, you know, and defend, you know. Because if we don't defend for them, you know, they're just going to be led astray. So let's go back to Numbers 13 before we get a couple more right now. Numbers 13 verse 29. I believe that's where you left off. You know, and Joshua says, stand up against your enemies, man. And us standing up against our enemies, you know, they led them astray. You know, he said he got God in his life, but he said it's the Old Testament, though. You know, so we gotta stand up against what our enemies taught them and led them astray. You know,
Numbers chapter 13 and verse 31.
right?
But the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people,
Right?
for they are stronger than we.
Right?
And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel,
Yeah, that's because they had fear in their heart. That's what that was. And then what?
saying, the land through which we have gone to search it
Right?
is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of a great stature.
Right?
And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight.
And that's not having faith, man. You know, here you are, you seen all the miracles that the Lord allowed Moses to put forth in the open. And we're still doubting. We're still of no hope, you know. Get Romans 8:29 real quick. Romans chapter 8, verse 29.
Book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 29.
Right?
For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate.
Yeah, the Lord set things up before we even got to that specific area to allow us to have victory. You know, he set things up. He set things up for Moses before Moses became a grown man. He set things up for Joshua before Joshua became a grown man. He set things up for the fishermen of Zion before he even thought about, you know, knowing we were Israelites, man. He set things up for many other congregations, man. You know, he predestinated what?
To be conformed to the image of his Son,
To the image of his son, and what else?
that he might be the firstborn among many brethren.
Among many brethren, you know. Let me get verse 28. Get verse 28 as well.
Verse-
Y'all got a minute for a Bible verse?
We gotta get some.
We're living in the last days.
Verse
Y'all know
28.
who the Israelites are? You said it don't matter? We're the Israelites. You said we don't matter? I'll bring it out.
Verse 28.
Right?
And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God.
Yeah, and Joshua, he loved the Lord. Caleb loved the Lord. Y'all got a minute for a Bible verse, family?
We got verse 5:30 start.
Okay, you know who the Israelites are?
Huh?
You know who the Hebrew Israelites are?
No.
Okay, we're the Israelites, you know, as well as the Hispanics, they're Israelites,
To them
right?
who are the called
Right?
according to his purpose.
According to his purpose. So the Israelites' purpose is to serve God, you know, to believe in God, you know, to fear God, not fear man. You know, to fear man, you know, that's something that the enemy loves. You know, the enemy loves that. So what should we be doing? We should be fearing the Lord, trusting in the Lord, allowing him to defend us, allowing him to allow us to be victorious. You know, the same thing that went on in Egypt, same thing that went on in Sodom and Gomorrah, same thing that went on with Abraham, slaying, you know, and defending his wife. They tried to take Abraham's wife. You know, the Lord made sure our forefathers was not only victorious, but he gonna make sure they're elected. No, he just read it. Go ahead. It's like Numbers 13:37. I was thinking about a precept of Jesus.
Numbers chapter 13 and verse 32. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel,
Right?
saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that were in it, that we saw in it, are men of a great stature.
Yeah, but hey, didn't David defeat Goliath? You know, didn't the Lord bring manna down from heaven? You know, so we got many things that we don't have to see, and the Lord can allow it to be brought to us based on faith.
What's going on, brother?
How you doing, brother?
Y'all don't rock with the other brothers down there?
You said I ain't hear you.
You
Y'all
record?
rock with the other brothers done?
You recording
Yeah, he
this?
wants to
No,
start.
no, 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 no,
Nah,
no.
he wants to start
No, no,
some
no, no,
stuff.
no.
He wants to start some stuff.
We don't know them.
He wants to start some
Yeah, I
stuff.
see it.
Nah, he just wants to start some
Y'all far more peaceful.
We just a different store.
Yeah,
You know, hey, some stores you go in there and they dirty.
Salak, we just never met them. We don't know those brothers.
I don't think they're in Christ, but.
Yeah, they do.
He just wants to start
No,
some
they
stuff.
don't.
He wants to start some
With love, what it say? With love and kindness, I draw thee.
stuff.
Verse 33. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers,
Right?
and so we were in their sight.
So we were in their sight. You know, chapter 14. Verse 2.
Numbers chapter 14 and verse 2.
Right?
And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron. And the whole congregation said unto them, would God that we had died in the land of Egypt,
Right?
or would God we had died in this wilderness? And wherefore hath the Lord brought us unto this land, to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Egypt? And they said one to another, let us make a captain, and let us return into Egypt.
Now we in a place instead of having people reign over us, you know, we the ones that's gonna be conquered. You know, the same thing that happened with the sense of us asking for a king, man, with Saul. You know, we don't want the Most High Yahweh to reign over us. We want a king to reign over us. We want flesh and blood to reign over us. So now we in a position at this specific time where things aren't looking how they used to look according to what we had in Egypt. You know, they was getting their backs beat in. You know, we wanted to leave them, and once they spoke about leaving them, when you read Exodus, you know, they took away food from them, man. They was out there faint, passing out, down, you know, and they wanted to go back to death, you know. And then they murmured, talking about, we gonna die, you know, but what? That's where faith comes in at. Without faith, you know, you ain't gonna be able to do nothing. Really, the words say it's impossible to please the Most High without faith, you know.
Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces,
Right?
before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel.
What's going on, brother? Fell on their faces before the Israelites,
And Joshua the son of Nun,
right?
and Caleb the son of Jephunneh,
Right?
which were of them that searched the land,
Right?
rent their clothes. And they spake unto all the company of the children of Israel, saying, the land which we passed through to search it
Is what?
is an exceeding good land.
What's America?
Is an exceeding good land.
Yeah, so hey, this gonna be burnt up, but really in all reality, certain parts of the earth, it's gonna be an exceeding good land for us to dwell in, for our children to dwell in, for our wives to dwell in. You know, the Lord, when the Lord willing, when the Lord take us away from here and we get to another part of the earth, we're gonna be saying the same thing because the kingdom is gonna be established. And what else?
If the Lord delight in us,
Right.
then he will bring us into this land
Right?
and give it us, a land which flows with milk and honey.
Right?
Only rebel ye not, Salakia, only rebel not ye against the Lord.
What the Lord say?
Only rebel not ye against the Lord.
Yeah, only rebel not against the Lord. That's what a lot of other Israelites are doing now in this day. Rebelling against the Lord. That's what happened. Hey, last night you had Israelites rebelling against the Lord, man. Hand joining hand with the wicked, man. That's what goes on every day. You know, you got Christians rebelling against the Lord. You got atheists rebelling against the Lord. You got Muslims rebelling against the Lord. You know, it's straight wicked doors rebelling against the Lord, man. What up?
Neither fear ye the man, the people of the land. Neither fear ye the people of the land.
You gotta fear
of the land.
And the Lord said the fearful and unbelieving, they would have their part. The Lord is going to jam them up. Because you're not supposed to fear man. You're not supposed to fear these other false gods. You're not supposed to fear these other heathens, these other nations. You're supposed to fear the Most High God. That's all throughout the word. The fear of the Lord is what's going to help us, man. It's going to keep you straight. It's going to keep you in line. It's going to keep you on the right path. Fear ye not them.
For they are bread for us.
Right?
Their defense is departed from them, and the Lord Yahweh is with us.
Yeah. And the Lord said the other nations are bread for us. And he's with us. Like the word say, if God be for us, who could be against us, man? And Romans, man. If God be for us, who could be against us? Trump is against us, but the Most High Yahweh by shooting up shot is for us. The White House is against us, but the Lord is for us. These elites are against us, but the Most High God is for us.
Fear them not,
Right?
but all the congregation bade stone them with stones. And the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Israel.
Get Hebrews chapter 10, verse 31. So hey, we gonna fear the Lord, man. We're not gonna fear our wives when they back against the wall. We're not gonna listen to Job's wife, curse the Most High and die. We're not gonna fear if we ain't got no money. We're not gonna fear if our clothes is rent and torn. We're not gonna fear if we're losing our hair. Because the body, man, it's gonna wax old anyway. It's gonna decay. And we looking for a new body, man. We looking for a new house. We looking for the spirit of the Most High to put the newness on our sisters, on our mothers, on our aunts, on our uncles, and our cousins. We looking for the Most High to do a new thing that we never seen before, man. So hey, we gonna move in the spirit like Joshua, like Caleb, like Peter, like Paul, and the rest of our mighty forefathers. Because I mean, what else we got to stand for? Because this society is finished. You got Pakistan getting jammed up. You got Russia, doing their thing, about to kick things off. China, they don't know whether or not they want to keep Donald Trump around or not. You got Ibrahim Tour, the captain, over there. He's saying, hey, you keep jamming up Africa. We gonna have to make things work. So hey, we see what's going on, man. And the Lord is doing all of this on behalf of the Israelites. So who gonna stand up like Joshua? Who gonna stand up like Caleb, man? Y'all got a minute for a Bible verse? Got a minute for a Bible verse? Lord willing, y'all come out when we out here. So let's finish this. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 31.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 10, and verse 31. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God.
Nah, you fear other nations.
It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God.
I'd rather fall into the Most High hands than fall into an Edomite hand, man. And to fall into a Hamite hand, man. I'd rather do that. Then stress myself out whether or not my marriage is gonna last or not, or stress myself out whether my bank account gonna last or not, or stress myself out whether the check engine light gonna go off, or whether or not I'm gonna have a flat tire or not, or whether or not they're gonna have a store full of chicken, or whether them tariffs gonna drop, I'd rather fear the Most High God than fear Donald Trump tariffs, Because, hey, all this stuff is going on behalf of getting the Israelites away from here, man. What's the point of praying for healing if you don't want the Lord to jam this place up? That's where healing gonna start at. When you get out of America, when you get out of Babylon the Great. So it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, the righteous. And what else?
But call to remembrance the former days, in which, after ye were illuminated, ye endured a great fight of affliction.
So Joshua and Caleb, they endured it, Moses endured it, so we gotta endure it now. Now it's our time, Now it's our time, not just only to wake up out of sleep, not just realize it's high time, but to endure like our forefathers endured. You know, and Paul, Paul got whipped, beat, scores, and things unawares with his brothers, and he still did the work, man. You know, and now, you know, brothers, I ain't never heard a brother say this, but now the Lord probably gave Paul the ability to have children now, you know, to have a wife now, in this life, you know, regeneration. Like how Shah said, if you had followed me in regeneration, you know, Paul didn't have no wife back then when he was doing all that work. But I'm led to believe he probably got a wife now, probably got children now, you know, and probably still doing the work, you know. So we gotta have that same spirit, you know. Let's get Isaiah 26:3. Call it like how about Shah?
The book of Isaiah, chapter 26 and verse 3. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace,
Right?
whose mind is stayed on thee.
So you want, that's one thing brothers should want, and women should want, as well as children. You know, when I was a child, I was going from this house, that house. You know, didn't know who's gonna watch me that day or the next day. You know, didn't know what time my mom was coming home. You know, when I was a child, I don't recall having peace like other households got. You know, and even as a new creature, man, you know, that's one thing that you gotta have. You should want that peace of mind. Cause that's what's gonna keep you stable. And what?
Because he trusteth in thee.
Yeah, you gotta trust in the Lord. Just like Joshua and Caleb trusted in the Lord. And what?
Trust ye in the Lord forever.
For how long?
Forever.
Right?
For in the Lord Yahweh is everlasting strength.
Y'all trust in the Lord? All right, now we Israelites. Now we gotta keep the commandments and the faith. Y'all know who the Hebrew Israelites are? We God's chosen. All right. So next mighty speaker coming up, called on Yahweh by Shema Mashak Yahushua.
Want this?
Second Thessalonians, chapter 3.
Book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 and verse 1. Finally, brethren, pray for us, that the word of the Lord may have free course, and be glorified even as it is with you, and that we may be delivered from unreasonable and wicked men.
Right, so we pray that the word of the Lord forever and ever take its free course. We also pray that, right, that we be delivered from unreasonable and wicked men.
Right.
Like what's going on in these last days. Things that they're not speaking on them. Right, but we pray for the Most High Abdullah Yahweh, Bashar Yahushua, the word of the Lord take its free course, that Israel be saved in these last days, repentance and salvation coming drawing nigh to the 12 tribes of Israel. Right, keep reading that.
For all men have not faith, but the Lord is faithful, who shall establish you and keep you from evil.
Right, and we also pray for our brothers that lack faith. Right? Faith is what? The substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Right? So it's hard, it's a hard thing to believe in something that you've never seen before. Right? Or to believe in something that you don't see or that you haven't seen often. Right? So faith is a huge aspect of who we are as a race of people, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American.
Right.
We're a people of faith. We're a people of great imagination, right? Hoping that things will get better, you know, hoping that, you know, our lives will increase, right? You know, hoping that our families will heal, hoping for healing, you know? That's what we believe in. We believe in faith. How y'all doing, sisters?
Hi, how are you?
Y'all doing all right? Y'all are God's chosen people, the Israelites.
Right.
Read on.
And we have confidence in the Lord touching you.
And the word confidence goes back literally to the word with faith, right? In order to have confidence, you have to have faith. The word con meaning with, fidel goes back to faith. Like if someone had infidelity, they were unfaithful, right? So you want to have confidence in the Lord. you have confidence in anything, if you don't got confidence in anything else, you should want to have confidence in the Lord, the Most High. Right? This is your invisible, this is your that mighty strength that you have that keeps you going. Right? Like how Superman has a what Superman have? That Superman does have a cape. But
Talking about kryptonite.
the kryptonite. You know? The kryptonite is the lack of faith. Having faith for the so-called black man is his superpower. Right? You know? And there's a spirit in the earth right now that the so-called black man is obtaining, and that is faith. That is his ability to see that, hey, one day I want to be a ruler. One day I want to be a king. I want to be a judge. Brother just mentioned Abraham Torre. They're just looking at Abraham like, okay, well, if he's a captain, he just kicked the French out, maybe that's something that we can do. There's people that are setting up rallies over here in the Americas. And this is what the so-called white man hate. That's why he's trying to ban social media platforms such as TikTok and these different algorithm methodologies like TikTok or Twitter, where you can go up there and just say whatever you want, or you can kind of do your own thing. There's people that have been waking up to the truth all over the world, and there's a spirit that's coming back with this so-called man that, hey, we can destroy these people.
Right.
We can literally set up our own thing. We can set up shop. You know, you got brothers from Chicago that have a history of killing one another and being at odds with their own race of people, but they're now saying things like, hey, we got to come together, man.
Right.
You know, we got to come together. Right? I'm talking about guys from terrible places where their whole lives they had enemies against their own people, but they're now saying that they come together. You know? So all of this goes back to faith, having imagination to see bettering yourself, bettering your people. And the word of the Lord is nothing but motivation and imagination for better for the hope of Israel. Right? You know? We'll read that last part again.
And we have confidence in the Lord touching you, that ye both do and will do the things which we command you.
Yeah, we pray that the Lord put the Spirit on our people, that they do what's commanded of them, you know, because the Lord has great and terrible things in store for his people, in store for the wicked, in store for the righteous. Brother mentioned Russia earlier, you know, things going on with Vladimir Putin, right? And people forget about the prophecy that the Lord said he was going to do to the Russians.
Right.
To these great and mighty people that are rising up in power in these last days. Real quick, get Ezekiel 38 and verse 1. How you doing, brother? You got a second for a Bible verse? Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 1. The Lord prophesied that mighty men will rise up in power in Russia, but these men are going to fall. These men aren't going to come and take over the landmass of all of it, like take all the natural resources in Africa and then rally up the Africans and rally up the so-called African Americans, the Israelites, and we go back into another enslavement for another million years. That's not happening. Right? Hey, brother man, you got a second for a Bible verse? All right, you guys chosen people of Israelites.
Right.
All right, read that.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 38 and verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against God, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him.
When you go into that word Meshach, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the old word of saying mascot in Russian. Right? And this is the people that the Lord is talking about. And the Lord said that these people will have a whole bunch of other people with them. And what is Vladimir Putin doing right now? Or what is he known for? He's known for having alliances with other people and building up his strength. But the Lord said he's going to destroy these people. That's right. And mentioning Abraham Torre, there was Abraham Torre just had a meeting with the man. You know, he just had a meeting with the man. You know, so we don't know what's going on.
Right.
We don't know. Is Abraham Torre on, you know, what side he's on? We don't know. Right? We don't.
And I will turn thee back and will put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine armies, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields,
Read,
all of them handling swords,
read.
Persia, Ethiopia,
And he's listing these people that are going to be with Moscow, that are going to be with the Russians, that are going to be with, what's his name? I keep forgetting his name.
Kim.
Vladimir Putin.
Come on.
He's going to have other alliances with him. Even who?
Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them,
And Libya with him, Redar.
all of them with shield and helmet.
All of them with shield and hammer. Where is Libya at? That's in so-called Africa. Right? So the Lord is saying, this man or this great leader that's going to come out of Gog, Magog, Moscow, Russia, is going to have African alliances. Right? This is what the Bible just said.
Right.
You know?
Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah
Read.
of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee.
And many people with thee. He said many people are going to be with thee. Right? So if he's one of the most powerful men on the earth right now, he's got more influences. Of course, we got Donald Trump and these different humanistic Edomites, but this guy's one of the most powerful. How you doing, my brother? You believe in the Bible? You got 1 second, hear one verse? All right, we want to show you something, my brother. We want to show you that you are actually in the Bible.
Right.
And what I mean when I say you're in the Bible, what is your God-given race? Black. And if you were to look at your watch, what would you describe that as color? And if you were to describe your hand, the same thing. Look at your hand and look at your watch. Two different colors. In the Bible, God doesn't say, "Oh, ye dear race of the blacks." There's many different shades of people on the earth. I've never seen a so-called black man, right? Why don't you call the East Indians a black man? He got the same skin complexion as you. So you have, what I'm saying to you is, you've been lied to about who you are. And we're going to show you who you actually are in the Bible. You mean Judges chapter 2 and verse 11.
This is the book of Judges, chapter 2, and verse 11.
Listen to this.
And the children of Israel.
The children of Israel. You ever heard of the children of Israel? Who are they to God? Give me Psalms 135 and 4. Who are the children of Israel? Is a particular people group in the Bible. And God literally tells you who they are to him. Every race on the earth goes back to a race that's documented in the Bible. And God tells you exactly how he feels about them and who he created them to be. Read Isaiah 44. Read that.
Psalm chapter 135 and verse 4. For the Lord hath chosen Jacob unto himself.
The Lord chose Jacob. Jacob is the same man as Israel. The Lord chose who?
Jacob unto himself.
So he chose Israel. This is a chosen man or a chosen people, rather.
Right.
You know?
And Israel for his peculiar treasure.
You know what the word peculiar means? What does it mean? It actually means the opposite. The word peculiar means special, right? Because this is a peculiar treasure. This is a special treasure to God. So Jacob, Israel, are the chosen peculiar people that you read about in the Bible.
Right.
Another verse that says the same thing to give more sense of what that means.
Book of Isaiah chapter 44, verse 1.
That's real good.
Get now here, O Jacob,
Oh, Jacob,
my servant,
you know what?
and Israel,
And Israel, so when it says Jacob and Israel, you read about the same person. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Israel is what?
whom I have chosen.
So the Lord chose who? The Lord chose Israel. Now, if I were to tell you right now that your race of people is the chosen race of people, what would you say to that? Yeah, because I mean, what race of people does everything the best on the earth?
Right.
And is that a coincidence, like athletically? Like, I would never scratch your head, like, why is it that black people, Hispanic and Native Americans, they dominate sports? Or why is it that they have the most inventions, like the microwave or the car or the airplane, or all the cell phone, the internet? Your race of people created these things. Why is that? Right? Because there's a chosen race of people and God made it that way. Now, I'm going to show you in the Bible that the reason why your people are how they are today, predicated upon God choosing them. You ever heard of the saying, to whom much is given?
To whom much is given.
Right? So listen to this. Give me the book. Go back to where you were. Judges chapter 2, verse 11.
The book of Judges, chapter 2 and verse 11.
Read.
And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord.
So God said that the children of Israel did evil in his sight. What would a good father do to his children when they disobey their father? Correct them. And through correction, that can be punishment, right? Read on. Read on where you are.
And serve Baalim.
So one of the first commandments, you know the first commandment? Have no, thou shalt not kill. The first commandment that God said is have no other gods before me. Right? God said that our people, we started serving false gods. Or the Israelites, he said the chosen people.
Right.
But I haven't proved to you yet that that's talking about us. But this verse is going to let you know who this people is talking about. What would God do to someone that disobeyed him? Verse 14.
Verse 14. And the anger of the Lord was hot.
It was what?
Was
It was
hot.
It was nice.
Was hot.
It was hot against who?
Against Israel.
The chosen race of people. Why? Because they served a false God. Outside of when God told them, don't have no other God before me. I'm your God. You know?
And he delivered them into the hands of spoilers.
The punishment was being delivered into the hands of spoilers. I mean, they had their own land, their own jurisdiction, their own everything. But now you're in the hands of spoilers. And you're in the hands of another man or another race.
Right.
That spoiled them.
And those people begin to spoil you now. That means what? Robbed, indoctrinated. You do whatever this people is telling you to do. What if the God said he would do to the chosen for breaking the commandments?
And he sold them.
He did what?
And
He sold them.
Sold them. Read.
into the hands of their enemy.
What does that sound like? It sound like slavery. It sound like slavery.
Right.
How did your people get to this land now? Those other people. Now, what part of transportation did your people get to America? By boat. Do you think that's in the Bible? You said it probably is. But well, hold on now. You've been to church before. You know Pastor T.D. Jakes. I'm just saying, you know T.D. Jakes. You know these different pastors. Have they ever got into the pulpit and said, hey, slavery on slave ships that happened to the black Americans, that's in the Bible. You never heard that. But guess what? We're about to read it to you right now. Deuteronomy, right? Chapter 11 and verse 26. Give me Deuteronomy 1 and 1 first.
Deuteronomy 1.
Yes, sir.
Come to Deuteronomy, chapter 1, verse 1. These be the words
These are the words.
which Moses spake unto all Israel.
Moses is a prophet speaking to the chosen people called Israel. He's going to prophetically tell them their future statements.
On this side of the Jordan.
Right? Deuteronomy 11 and 26. This is what he told them.
Deuteronomy 11 and 26.
Bring it out.
Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse.
Read.
A blessing.
A blessing.
If ye obey the commandments of the Lord your God.
If the Israelites as a race of people obey God's commandments, what did God say will happen to them? Yeah. Read again.
A blessing.
A what?
A blessing.
What?
A blessing.
Read.
If ye obey the commandments of the Lord your
If
God.
the Israelites as a race of people obey God's commandments, what will happen to them? Read on.
Which I command you this day.
Right?
And a curse.
And a what?
And a curse.
One time.
And a curse.
Read.
If you will not obey the commandments.
And if they don't obey the commandments, what did God say will happen to them? They'll be cursed. Do you think your race of people has been under blessings or curses predicated upon what's happened to them over the last 500 years? Now, give me some ideas of how we would be cursed. Like, what would we go through? That's right. Give me Deuteronomy now. Wow. Check out what God did. God lists all of that right there in the Bible. And this is going to identify who he's talking about. When people read the Bible, they don't never tell you the who, what, where, why, and how. They'll never read, okay, we're reading the book of Jeremiah written to this people. And this people is talking about this race of people. They just classify it to all of humanity. Right? Because they read the New Testament and they think certain words are classified to everyone. That's not how you read the Bible. Right? So listen to this. Deuteronomy chapter 28, and let's go to verse 16.
Deuteronomy 28 and
Now
verse.
remember, we're reading the curses because this is going to identify who the Israelites are. They're remember, God said if you break the commandments, this is what's going to happen to you. Read that.
Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
The Lord said that when the Israelites break the commandments, they're going to be cursed in the city. That is literally what you just said, economically. Right? You're the one that's cursed in the city. You're at the bottom of society. You're not enjoying the fruits of any labor that you've ever done. You're not in ownership or in jurisdiction of anything. Cursed shall the Israelites be in the city. Read.
And cursed shalt thou be in the field.
And cursed shall you be in the field. What does the field represent? Labor. Right? You're not the one that is the master. You're the laborer. Right? You're the one that's putting in cheap, hard labor for nothing.
Right.
Right? Cursed shall you be in the city, cursed shall you be in the field, if you break the commandments. Right? We're doing number 28, verse 32. It's another curse that will happen to the Israelites if they disobey God.
Verse 32. Thy sons
Your sons, Israelites,
and thy daughters
and your daughters,
shall be given unto another people.
that's in the Bible. That's plain in the Bible.
Right.
Atlanta, right? Atlanta was one of the chief hubs for slavery. Georgia, you know all about that out there, right? Your sons and your daughters shall be given to another people, meaning all people aren't the same. Like how we were told in religion and philosophy. God created everybody different. I mean, you could literally look and see the difference, but religion tells you otherwise. We gotta believe what the Bible says, not what man says.
Right.
You know what?
And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long.
Read.
And there shall be no might in thine hand.
We know what that is. That's slavery. That's being overthrown by another people. Now, give me Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 54. I want you to listen to this real good. So far, right, by these curses, do all races of people go through this as a race of people?
Because it turns
Or is
into
this
a
just
viable place.
or is this being narrowed down now?
What's it?
It's like, hold on now, this that's not talking about everybody. It sounds too specific. God gonna get way more specific. Listen to this.
Verse 54.
Right?
So that the man that is tender among you
Man that's tender among you from your own kinsmen, according to the flesh, your own race of people. Read.
and very delicate
Delicacy this is going to be in kind and cordial towards your own people. If the Israelites begin to break the commandments, instead of that kind and cordial, brotherly love, what did God say will happen?
his eye shall be evil toward his brother.
What does that sound like? Where you got an evil eye for your own race. Right? Have you ever been riding the car and you ride past another brother just mean mugging you? Next thing you know, you mean mugging the brother back. You know? And that happens all the time. You don't even know the brother, but he's black though. That's a nigga. Right? But you ain't nothing but a nigga in this society. And you're not seen or viewed as a king or an Israelite how you actually are. That's a spiritual matter that has taken place to our people.
Right.
An evil eye toward your own race. Right? Or like crime, gangbang, violence, not being able to have business or structure with your own race. What else the guy say will happen to break the commandments?
And toward the wife of his
You
bosom.
got an evil eye towards your brother and an evil eye toward your wife. When you get on Facebook and social media, what's the big talk about? The black man against the black mama, the black man, baby mama drama. The black man ain't, the black woman ain't, right? Same thing, tear each other down. An evil eye towards your brother, an evil eye towards your wife. This is the family structure, the family dynamic. You know?
And toward the remnant of his children,
Evil eye toward the remnant of his children. Check this out.
which he shall leave.
No, he's going to be known for staying.
Which he shall leave.
Who's known for single parent households? It should be, but guess what? It's not. Right, but guess what? It's not. Right? Excuse me, sir. Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Was your father in your life?
Yes.
He was. That's all I wanted to know. Now, guess what? Okay. All principles. Now, if we were to do a panel as so-called black men, Mon Dukes. Shout out to Mon Dukes.
Right.
You know, what was that black man? Like, we had many obstacles against us, like Planned Parenthood, like WIC, right? When you signed up for WIC, guess what that sister did? Hey, nigga, get out of this house. right? Because why? I have to get these food stamps. I don't even like you anyway,
Right.
right? What's the black man doing? Well, it don't matter. I got teaching and Samaria. I don't need you. These are things that actually happen in our community, right? And I said the deeper methodology of how these things took place. And the point of it is God said that these things will happen many, many years ago. It was already prophesied. Now I asked you, I said, how do our people get to America transportation-wise? What did you say? By a boat. Now, what's the name of the people that we're reading about? Israelites. Give me Deuteronomy 28:68.
Deuteronomy 28.
You ready for this? All right, check this
And
out.
verse
brother.
68. And the Lord.
And the who?
And
And
the
the
Lord
Lord.
God is going to do this. And the Lord
shall bring thee into Egypt again.
into where again?
Into Egypt again.
When the Israelites were in Egypt the first time, what were they doing? When Moses said, Pharaoh, let my people go, bruh. What were they doing? They escaped. They eventually escaped. What were they doing for Moses to have to go up in there and command him to let his people go? Let them go from what? Oppressed. I don't like that word, but I like to use that word. They were oppressed or enslaved. So when God said they would go to Egypt again, it means oppressed or enslaved again. Alright? Exodus 22 to prove that real quick.
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 2.
Egypt has a specific code word that it means. Check this out.
I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt,
Out of the land of Egypt,
out of the house of bondage.
Egypt is the house of what?
Out of the house of bondage.
See that? So Egypt could be is synonymous for bondage or oppressed or enslaved. So when God says you're going to go to Egypt again, he's not talking about the physical landmass of Egypt. He's talking about the condition in which you were in that first time. Right? So we're reading about what people? Israelites. And God said they're going to go where again? Egypt, which means what? Back to slavery. And we got to America by what part of transportation? Read that again from the top.
Deuteronomy 28:68.
Now, why did this happen to them? Because they broke God's commandments. This is one of the curses that will happen. Read that.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again
Read.
with ships.
With what?
With ships.
On a plane.
With ships.
God's charge.
With ships.
Hellcats.
With ships.
You see that? With ships. What people went to slavery on ships? What people went to slavery by way of slave ships? Israelites. And who are the Israelites? That's right, brother. So-called black people. So-called blacks. So-called Latinos and Native Americans. The transatlantic slave trade happened to us. The sub-Saharan slave trade happened to us. The Silk Road slave trade happened to us. The Indian Ocean slave trade happened to us. Right? We are victims of Bible prophecy. When somebody would say, I'm a victim of World War I. We're victims of Bible prophecy. The Bible was written by us and to us.
Right.
What the Lord said would happen to his people in the Bible, that's talking about so-called black Hispanic Americans.
Right.
Right? So, with ships, read on.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee,
The same way Moses said it, that's the same way it happened. Read.
thou shalt see it no more again.
Read on.
And there
And then when you get off the ships, God's going to tell you exactly what's going to go down. Read.
ye shall be sold.
Ye shall be sold. Right? If you don't know, because you're not from here, in the middle, that's called the Market Square House. That's yep, that's literally where the selling took place. Right. It's still standing up strong today. So I mean, this wasn't long ago, but this was written long ago because the Bible is about prophecy. Right? What the Lord say?
And there ye shall be sold
Read.
unto your enemies
To your enemies. Read on.
for bondmen and
When
bondwomen.
you're a bond man and a bond woman, they're not gonna give you your history. They're not gonna give you say here, you nigga boy, this Bible is talking about you Israelite man. No, they're gonna say you a nigga boy.
Yeah. Right.
Right? No, as a matter of fact, you can even read the Bible. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you a few chapters. I'm gonna give you the book of John. That's all I'm gonna give you. Don't even worry about the Old Testament. Just read the New Testament. This is what happened to our people, which is why we don't know anything today. Right, read on.
And no man shall buy you.
And the word buy means redeem. We haven't been redeemed as a race of people. They hadn't given us our 40 acres of our land. They hadn't given us our reparations. We got to take it. And you start by taking it by knowing who you are. By having a God-given name.
Right.
By having an identity. We suffer from identity crisis as a so-called black Hispanic and Asian man. We call ourselves a color black. We can't even associate it or align it to a landmass. And we can't even, what landmass? Where in Africa? Where? We don't even know. We don't even know. Right? So we've been completely annihilated. But guess what? The Holy Spirit has come and comforted and teach us all things and bring us back to our remembrance. That you are actually who according to the Bible. That's right.
That's right.
You'll be an Israelite. Now, if we broke the commandments and got sent to America on ships for breaking the commandments, how do you think we're going to leave this place, get salvation, and come back in the rulership? Following the commandments. It's that simple. It's literally that simple. We've been over here in America trying to figure it out. And well, maybe I should join the Christian church or be a Baptist. Matter of fact, I'm going to become a bishop of the first epithesial, cathedral. Matter of fact, that's old. I'm gonna try being a Muslim. That'll do it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be a 5%er. That'll do it. You know what? I'm just gonna go to the league, man. I'm gonna work on my game. You know what I mean? Work on my game all day. I'm gonna go to the league and I'm gonna buy the whole hood back.
Right.
I'm having a little fun with it, but this is what we've done as a people, and it has not worked. That's not worked. So what the hell is gonna work? Doing what the Lord said.
Right.
Right? So now, being that you gave the correct answer, which is doing the commandments, name me 3 commandments. Okay, that's 2. Honor your mother, father, don't kill, don't steal. That's 3 commandments that our people break every day. Right? We kill our own brethren because killing your brother is not necessarily just shooting him and putting him in death. But killing your brother is not having respect for that man. Hating on that brother. The Lord said, that's killing your brother. So, we're going to give you 3 commandments through the Spirit that you may or may not have known about. Leviticus chapter 11, verse 7. We always start with this.
That's Leviticus chapter 11. At verse 7.
We came out here just for you, brother.
Right.
All right, we was moving. This Saturday, the Lord ordained this. What's your name? Your brother Gabriel. Right, read that.
Mighty name.
At verse 7. And the swine, though he divide the hoof,
Right.
and be cloven footed,
You know what swine is, right? Pig. Read.
yet he cheweth not the cud.
Read.
He is unclean to you.
This is Moses giving us these commandments after he just received them from what the world now calls UFOs, which are actually angels.
Right.
The angels came down, cracked the firmament, came through the waters, and said, all right, Moses, give these commandments to the Israelites. This is what Moses told them to do. He said, don't eat pork. How many of our people eat pork? See that? You eat pork. So that would mean you would be in sin, right? We used to eat pork. Then you used to eat pork.
Yes, I did.
You ate pork too, right? You used to love them pork chop sandwiches.
Hey.
But guess what we found out? We said, hold on. We actually the Israelites.
Right.
We went into slavery for breaking God's commandments. How about I try keeping God's commandments?
Right.
So what did we do? We said, to hell with that pork, man. See that? God gave us these commandments for us to live. Right? Read on.
Of their flesh shall ye not eat.
You can't eat pork as a king on the earth. What king does something against the kingdomship that he was given? You're not gonna be a king for very long.
Right.
Right? Read on.
And their carcass shall ye not
I
touch.
said you can't even really touch their carcass. Why?
But they are unclean to you.
So what is the purpose of the swine on the earth that God created? And me I'm a king on the earth, I should be able to do what I want. Why can't I eat that? Because the swine was created as a cleansing mechanism for the earth. Which is why you can give it anything that it'll eat. Right? Anything. You give it anything and it'll eat. Now you put it in your body, defiling your temple as a temple. Right? So you're supposed to give your trash to the herd of the swine. And they cleanse the earth. Alright? What else can we? So you as an Israelite have to say, okay, I got to do something about that. That bacon that I be having with those eggs and the blueberries. Keep the eggs. Keep the blueberries. Alright? Yeah. Substitute it, brother. Get some turkey bacon. But that hog, that pork, that beef, that was forbidden, by the Most High to the Israelites.
Right.
You gotta do away with that. That's if you love God.
Right.
If you just say, man, I'm a nigga, man, I don't give a damn about it. You do your own thing. You stay first. See that? Read on.
These shall ye eat of all that are in the water.
This is what you can eat within the waters.
Whatsoever has fins and scales in the waters,
Right?
in the seas, and in the rivers,
Read.
them shall ye eat.
If it got fins and scales on it simultaneously, you're in the good grace of the Most High to eat that. That would be your regular fish that you can see. Right? Like your spot, bass, trout, tilapia, salmon. Right? It's like fun. You know it?
And all that have not fins and scales in the seas,
Right.
and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters,
That doesn't have fins and scales on it, God said what?
they shall be an abomination unto you.
That's in the Bible. That's
Right.
written, that's plain. So what's in the waters that does not have fins and scales on it that our people indulge in? Shrimp, crawfish, crab, lobster, catfish. The crab, brother, you'll find out in due season that you're just eating a sea monster. It's a sea roach. It's literally a sea roach. What are they feeding at the bottom? And why are they at the bottom? Why are they there? Who put them there? God put them there.
Right.
Right? In the cleanup crew. You can't even see that. You can't see down there. Now, if you take that out of the ocean, right, and you just start selling to all your local seafood boilers, what will happen to the ocean? You said nothing will be down there to clean it up. So what will happen to the ocean? It'll get nasty. So if the water is nasty, that means the water is polluted and it's dirty. There's a water cycle, right? Scientists have studied this. They figured this out thousands of years ago. The water is dirty, the air is dirty. The air is dirty, the ozone layer is dirty. And it goes back into a cycle. And you're inhaling this thing. So you're inhaling intoxified air, oxygen, and consuming it. Why? Because we're breaking God's commandments in the order in which He commanded it to be. So everything is just out of line because the so-called white man is in power. And you're not in power as an Israelite to enforce law, enforce God's commandments. So the world is jammed up because the so-called black man has went to slavery and he's now trying to make it to the league. And he's not trying to make it to the kingdom
Right.
as a ruler and a judge. Does that make sense so far? So no pork on our forks, no swine on our minds, and definitely no sea creatures. As an Israelite, if you love God.
Everything else. Beef.
Yeah, brother, you can get down with beef. Brother, you want to get with that beef. Yeah, you get down with beef, brother. You get down with beef. You can get down with lamb. You get down with bison. You can get down with chicken.
Deer.
You get down with chicken. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, brother. Ox. You know, you can some ox. Yeah. So, the point of this, you can read this in Leviticus, the 11th chapter. Our dietary commands of how we should keep our diet. This is the KJV. You got that one? I'll pray for the Most High. You don't want the new King James. They don't pick verses. They take verses out. You want the real King James, the black man who was a king in Ireland and Scotland and France, who organized 48 Hebrew scholars for them to translate it from Greek to the Hebrew. Yeah, the new King James, the so-called white man. Yeah, manipulated. Furthermore, we're moving on. He gave you two commandments. We're going to give you another commandment. Let's get the Sabbath. You know the Sabbath is, right? Okay. Because why? Which day? Which day does the Lord say rest? The third day? I'm saying the third, the fourth, the fifth. The seventh, right? So the seventh day, because we live in a period of sevens. Week. What's the seventh day of the week? Saturday. So the Sabbath day is Saturday. Now you go to your local Baptist church. And so, good old Sunday. Grandparents have a big hat on. There might be some apples on the hat. And the pastor, we don't have the bacon sandwich. It's Sunday. Why? Because he was taught by the so-called white man.
Right.
The so-called white man did this. They chapter 7, verse 25.
Daniel, chapter 7, verse 25.
You know.
Prophesied against against white men, white rulers, ruling kings. He prophesied and told us what would happen in the future. This is one of the things that he said.
And he,
And he.
He
shall,
is talking about the beast, or one of the beasts. And in cold word, this is talking about so-called weapon. And we're going to prove it. And he,
shall speak great words against the Most High.
who has the ability to speak against God? In theory, yes. But he's going to tell you how they spoke against God.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
Who wore out God's people? In theory, yes. The word devil means to deceive.
Right.
So there's a spiritual aspect of it, and there's a physical, literal aspect of it. It said, and he, who is the beast, shall speak great words against the Most High, and he shall wear out the saints of the Most High. The saints are the Israelites.
Right.
Who wore out the saints? Plain as day. If you just look at this is being worn out. You're working all day, forced labor, forced sex, got raping going on, hangings, lynchings, alligator bait, and all type of stuff. You think they were just, we just bowed down to the so-called white man? No, they came over here with guns and they defeated us in battle. And they rounded us up and then chained us. This is being worn out by the saint. I mean, by that heat that it said. Right? Read.
And think to change times and laws.
And that same man, he's gonna have the ability to change times and laws. So when I said, who is gonna speak against God? It's the devil. Who's the devil on the earth? Who deceived everybody?
Right.
Who went to every country, raped, robbed, and murdered them? Pillaged them? Who did it? The Bible is telling you.
Right.
Alright? Now, the point of this is he thought to change times and laws. Go to Genesis chapter 1. Yeah. Verse 5. Let's start at verse 5.
Genesis chapter 1 and verse 5. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day.
What is the first day? Read one more time.
And the evening
First day of the week is Sunday. Right?
and the morning were the first day.
When does our day begin? That's when our day begins. Evening. They'll tell us in this society your day begins at 12 at night. But your day actually begins at evening. What happens at evening? For us to know that it's now the beginning of the day. The sun sets. Genesis 1 and 14 tells us that we created two lights. These lights are for us to tell time. So, our Sabbath begins Friday when the sun sets. Sunday, the sun goes down, and our Sabbath ends. And on the Sabbath, we're supposed to rest, be in unity with the Most High, and we do like our forefathers did. We go out and teach on the Sabbath. So right now, you ran into us on the Sabbath. That makes sense? Alright? So we gave you 3 commandments in regards to Shabbat and Sabbath. Resting, working on Sabbath day, we're not supposed to work. Yeah, we in slavery, so bills tied and raising rent, all inflation. We all jammed up. Alright? Now, we gave you 3 commandments. Do you have any questions for me? No questions about nothing. Yeah, we have the school right now. The school is church. The Lord said, whenever 2 or 3 gather, I'll be in the midst. So you just walk into the school of the Lord, brother.
Right.
And learn the lesson or two. And these are the things that go. That's how the Lord really works. He's not really done with you going inside of a pulpit building. And the pastor said, come to the altar, hands up. And you put a cross on your head. No, don't put a cross on my head. Y'all do it. Don't do the whole like. Yeah, we kind of need. But what I'm saying is, we doing it right now. Okay. So you already know what's going on.
I didn't do this thing for years.
So the Lord had all praise to the Most High. Here's the deal. Now we don't really know them brothers. I have never heard of teeth. I don't know. But for the most part, it's something to say Israelites, so they are Israelites. Right? We Israelites, so-called black Hispanic Israelites. Now, go to Revelation chapter 14 and verse 12. So you have different congregations. We're the fishermen.
Revelation chapter 14 and verse 12. Here's the patience of the saints.
Here's the patience of the saints.
Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus.
How do you get salvation? You can pray, but if you pray, does God necessarily hear your prayer? You live according to the commandments. Right? That's a great question. You said it's a what? Great answer. It's a great answer. You have to live according to the commandments. The Lord said, here is the patience of the saints, the Israelites. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of the Messiah, who the Lord called Jesus Christ, who's brilliant in the house shine. Right? So in order to receive salvation, we have to have faith and works. The works of the commandments.
Right.
Make sense? No questions? No questions at all. So you know how to get salvation, which is out. Read it one more time.
Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Yahushua.
That's right. Keep the commandments to the best of your ability and the faith.
Right.
Alright? We'll read you one more commandment before you go. Numbers chapter 14.
Book of Numbers, chapter 15 and verse 38.
Now, just an FYI, it's more than 10 commandments. So Leviticus, when we just read about the swine, that's not in the 10. It says thou shalt not kill, things of that nature. When we just read, that's outside of the 10. Right? It's more than 10.
Numbers 15, 38. Speak unto the children of Israel
Which is who you are.
and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments.
So the Lord commanded the children of Israel to make fringes in the border. So that's why the brothers got these shirts. Right? And you can do it any kind of way within the order of the commandments. So like I have black fringes and he got red fringes. Like his is skinny, mine's a little thicker. Right? He got red as well. You know what?
That in the borders of their garments throughout their generations.
How long did the Lord say do this?
Throughout their generations.
As long as the earth is going to be here, right? The Israelites are always going to be on the earth. So therefore, this commandment is given to us for us throughout our generations. Read.
And that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue.
A ribbon of what?
Of blue.
So the Lord said, on your borders, we put a ribbon of blue on. Right? So that's why this brother got a ribbon of blue on his fringes. This brother has a ribbon of blue on his fringes. This brother has a ribbon of blue on his fringes. So the Lord commanded us to do these things.
Right.
This is given to us by the Most High God. Alright, read.
And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it, and remember all the commandments of the Lord.
And do what?
And remember all the commandments of the Lord.
Right?
And do them.
And what?
And
Do them.
The Lord commanded us to remember the commandments and do them. Right? So it will be behooving of you to order you some fringes. Yep, you can sew them on, put them on, you can order them online, etsy.com. You can go to Google, type in Israelite fringes, you know, Shalom. You know, so you can get them from anywhere. They got fringes, bro. That brother, you see the fringes are a little different. You don't have to.
Yeah.
They're not always gonna look like this. You see the blue ribbons. So you can rock them on, you know, certain brothers rock them on the side. Certain brothers rock them at the end. Yeah. But the borders of your garments. Alright? visiting or you live out here? Okay. You just got it. They gonna make you shave your beard? Give me that.
I was on it.
Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 27.
Right?
Ye shall not round the corners of your heads,
So the Lord said you shall not round the corners of your head. Read.
neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard.
So you're not supposed to shave your head or shave your beard like some African. That's the traditions of the ancient real Africans. You're not African. Hamites. Right? So one of the first things they did to us when they sold us on auction block, they shaved our heads, shaved our beards. That's a sign of it's a ritual. Making you into a new creature, making you into a new boy. You doing whatever they want you to do. The military has taken on that tradition. Just like we did, like the father in society. The Lord told the Israelites, hey, grow your beard out. It's a bad divine.
Like,
The Israelites. So I just wanted to bring that out, correlate. So the spirit that they gave you that have the beard. So we the Israelites, we got the flyer, the YouTube channel is up there, the Instagram is up there, you know, all the information is up there for the power of the Most High. We pray that, you know, you get your sword, your Bible, and you follow along YouTube channel, learn more about their heritage, and fit so that you can receive salvation. Think that's it?
Pretty good.
all right, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. What's your God given nationality?
Israelite.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All praises.
I'm gonna get one more. I'm gonna close it up. Give me Second Thessalonians. Give me 2 Timothy chapter 3.
This is the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3 and verse 1. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemous, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heedy, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away.
The Lord said,
From such turn away.
read.
For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Now as Janus and Jambres withstood Moses.
Right, that's it on that, right? Get what's going on, brother? You got a second for a Bible verse?
Not today,
Are
but
you one of God's chosen people in Israelite?
I know, dog. I appreciate it. Y'all boys be safe. Y'all fellas be safe.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 25 and verse 7. And he will destroy and dismantle the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. He will swallow up death and victory, and the Lord Yahweh will wipe away tears from off all faces, and the rebuke of his people shall he take away from off all the earth, For the Lord has spoken. And it shall be said in that day, lo, this is our God.
It's everybody's God.
This
Look,
is
our God.
Who's God?
This is our God.
Read.
We have waited for him.
We have what?
We have waited for him.
We have what?
We have waited for him.
And he will save us. This is the Lord Yahweh. We have waited for him. We will be glad and rejoice in his salvation.
So much of that.